Recording now. Do you want to say something? If you're good, I'll put you in the video.
Really?
Yeah, do it again.
Okay. Welcome, noobs.
Welcome, noobs. What's going on, guys? It's Jake from Bloom Audio, and we got a fun one for you today. We got Kiwi Ears Orchestra 2. Orchestra 2 is a brand new 10 balanced armature IEM from Kiwi Ears that boasts complete noise isolation, a transparent natural sound, and a premium feel at the $350 price point. This is Kiwi Ears' latest addition into a IEM market that is currently boasting a lot of budget-priced IEMs that punch far outside of their price point. So today we're going to dive into this specific offering, break it down, compare it to the Orchestra Lite, and see if this is another one that you got to get hype about and maybe think about adding to your collection, or if this is one that you can pass on. But before I get into anything, I just want to say I believe that this is the successor to the original Kiwi Ears Orchestra, and in the spirit of full transparency, I have never heard OG Orchestra. However, we do have Orchestra Lite here at Bloom Audio, and that's a set that has regularly been in my ears for music listening. I've used it a lot playing drums at church. It's one of my favorite sets, especially at $250, and it's definitely an office favorite around here. So I'm going to be doing most of my comparisons to Orchestra Lite. It sits more in the price class with Orchestra Lite, and I think it's building off of a lot of what that set did really well. So jumping into the build, firstly, we have to talk about the cable. This is a single silver-plated OCC cable. I think that this strikes a nice balance. I think it's on the thicker side, so it feels real rigid and durable, but it also is kind of subtle and is still lightweight. Chin slider on this set is smooth. It sticks good. This cable is a part of the new Linsol Kiwi Ears Z-Got cable system. There's no twisting mechanism at all, which gets like kind of weird when done incorrectly. You just pull it right off, and even without that twisting lock-on mechanism, it still fits nice and snug. I personally love to see Linsol making improvements in production in this area. Brands like Kiwi Ears and Z-Got have always been special just due to how good their sets sound, especially at the price, but some of the early cables that were coming with these sets were just terrible. So I'm glad to see that there's some improvement in the build quality that is backing up this premium feeling sound with a premium feeling build. Now let's just talk about this shell. It's probably the biggest standout with this set, and I think it's the factor that really sets it apart from its competitors. So the shell itself is actually a little bit on the heavier side. Orchestra 2 sits inside of a specially crafted clear acrylic housing, which supposedly minimizes acoustic resonance and offers a clear, more natural sound profile. We can talk more about that in the next section of this video. I think the main thing that I want to talk about with Orchestra 2's shell is exactly how it fits in your ear. I measured the nozzle size of Orchestra Lite and Orchestra 2. I got 6.1 millimeter for the Orchestra 2 and 6.0 for Orchestra Lite. I think they're pretty much just the same. It is a little bit on the bigger side. I had no problem getting my ELITech Baroque ear tips on here, and that is pretty much what I did all my listening with. So the nozzle size is certainly on the larger side, but what I think is interesting about this set and what really sets it apart in terms of the build is the length of this nozzle. It's definitely on the longer side. It provides an experience that I believe can really only be compared to a custom IEM mold. There are almost two different ways to wear this set. When inserted deeply in your ear, it really, again, can only be compared to like a custom molded IEM. It's completely noise canceling to a point where sometimes it almost made me a little uncomfortable. It definitely creates a little bit of pressure that takes some getting used to and is a little jarring at first. Now that's if you insert them all the way. I'll just call it medium insertion would be the other way that you could listen to this set, and that's what I was doing a lot of. I still got like a really great seal that was snug in my ear if I was moving around, and at times it even sounded more full. I think the bottom line is, even if that first option is not really up your alley, it's not up my alley either, and I was able to listen to Orchestra 2 for hours on end when analyzing it for this video, and I never had issues with the fit. It was nice and snug in my ear with my Baroques, but I do appreciate just how snug you can get this thing and how deep it can go into your ear, and because of its build, just how isolating it is from the outside world. Again, that is one of the main selling points of Orchestra 2, is just complete noise isolation. This is noise canceling that that is better than, you know, what you would see on the AirPods Pro 3 or whatever your best noise canceling device is. So while the feel and the look of an IEM certainly are important in this hobby, it's not nearly as important as how does this thing sound. So I'm going to pull up the graph here on my computer, and again, I'm going to compare this a lot to the Orchestra Lite, as I think tonality wise, I think that these two are most similar. So right off the bat, you can see that this set actually is a little bit on the bassier side. I would say that the sub-bass region dominates the mid-bass here. The low end has a noticeably large and full rumble, bringing out a hint of warmth in this set, but it surprisingly isn't punchy. I think bass guitars are dreamy here. They're very clear, with a large emphasis in detail on the slides, the plucks, the pulls. 808 drops were satisfying in hip-hop songs or R&B. The one bummer for me in the low-end region were drums. Not that they were bad necessarily, I just think they were a little underwhelming for my taste. I typically like a little more punch and slam from the kick drum or the toms. I would say that the tonality and the detail of how they physically sounded were good, but they weren't as physical as I like drums to be. So it is a bassy set, but it's pretty unique in a sense that you get this atmospheric, immersive bass response that is detailed and full, but not that dynamic. And that's going to lead into the greater theme of this set, which I'm coining as natural plus. When I say natural plus, I mean it's a little too enhanced to be a fully natural sounding set, but it's very mature and it's restrained enough to lean on the more natural side. So it leaves you like somewhere in the middle, which I think is cool, and I think that there's some really practical use cases for this, but we'll dive into that a little bit more in a little bit. Mid-range on this set is clean and natural. Guitars are detailed and immersive. There's a lot of nice overtones and resolution here. One song in particular that I think demonstrated the mid-range really well is called TLC Cage Match. I think it's track 3 off of MJ Lenderman's 2022 album called Boat Songs. The song features an acoustic rhythmic lead that has an electric guitar strumming rhythmically to back it up as well. There's a clear separation between the two, but they also kind of mold together to create this really thick and unique guitar tone. It just creates a real pleasant rhythmic instrumental driving nature, especially on Orchestra 2. It's contrasted with a very pretty reverby slide guitar that is swelling in and out. And then that's contrasted with MJ's pretty raspy lower register voice. I think it just demonstrates a lot of what Orchestra 2 does well as an IEM. It lays everything out, gives everything room to breathe with great imaging, great instrument separation, and an overall transparent tone. Vocal regions, they're definitely interesting here. I honestly can't get a good read on them. They come through as pretty confident and with a lot of strength, but I guess I wouldn't say that this is like a vocal centric or vocal first set. I think they come across with a ton of clarity, and that's why it's kind of confusing to me, because I don't think that they're the most forward facing vocals that I've seen, even to the point where sometimes I do think that it gets overshadowed by some parts in the mid-range and I'm looking for a little bit more. That's track dependent, of course. The vocals are pretty smooth. It's pretty non-offensive, and they're definitely not on the harsh or exciting side. I guess I just wish that there was a little bit more push here. Again, this is track dependent, but for me, I listen to like a lot of shoegaze where vocals are already on the quieter side, and I just feel like sometimes if the mid-range was really crowded, it did take away from the vocal presentation a little bit. I love the way that cymbals sounded on this set. There's tons of resolution and detail there, and it was really light in its presentation, where overtones and reverb resolution like hangs on as long as it can, especially when you're listening at louder volumes. So overall, again, if I had to describe Kiwi Ears Orchestra 2's sound signature, I would say natural plus. It boasts itself as an IEM with complete transparency, and while I think that is true, there are a little bit of enhancements, especially in the lower end region. I really just think it's going to be safe for everyone's ears, no matter what your sound signature preference is. So I guess that begs the question of who is this set actually for? I guess I would start out and just say, if you own the Orchestra Lite, I'm not sure that this is a night and day easy decision. Yes, I have to upgrade. Orchestra Lite comparatively is certainly less bassy, but the vision of these tunings essentially accomplish the same thing. I would only recommend upgrading if you find that you're always EQing more bass onto that set, or if you're just sick of the crappier cable and the fact that it's only terminated in single-ended 3.5. I think that they fit the same and they kind of do the same thing in terms of their presentation, but there are just some differences in the sound and in the overall experience. experience. The first group of people that I would really recommend this set to is musicians, especially those that use in-ear monitors for live sound when you're performing, or if you use IMs when you're tracking vocals, or just putting together rough mixes as a producer. I've actually recommended the Orchestra Lite to two musicians at our church. One of them is a bass player and one of them is a younger drummer. And for the same reason that I recommended the Orchestra Lite to them, I would recommend the Orchestra 2 to any musician that's looking for an IM for this scenario. The seal that you get with Orchestra 2 is just a musician's dream. The balanced tuning on this set does make it ideal for live sound, but I think it's a little bit more full and engaging than like something from the 64 Audio Aspire series, which are IMs that I've played live with and do enjoy, but I'm just not sure exactly why it is that people say you need a completely flat IM if you're playing live because you want to hear exactly how you sound. I would think the opposite. I want something that's going to really block everything out so I'm just hearing my own personal mix. But I like that Orchestra 2 is balanced, but it leans a little bit on the fun musical side as well. I just think that's a more preferable sound in my mix. I want us to sound good when we're playing. I think it adds just enough color where it's not taking away from anything when you're playing live. The other group of people that I would recommend this to is if you're an audiophile and you travel a lot and you want to leave your nicer boutique flagships at home, I would recommend Orchestra Lite as a cheaper beater set that you can take with you, especially on the plane. Again, the isolation that this set provides is so strong. I think it would be your absolute best bet if you were on a plane. Obviously, a plane is so loud, and even like with my T Pros I was just using on our way back from CanJam, it pretty much blocks everything out, but there's still like that 10% that you just hear this background rumble or chatter in between tracks. Orchestra 2 is not that at all. I'm telling you, once these are in your ears and audio is playing, the outside world is completely mute. And I think it's going to be a good recommendation for that case as well, because this set is essentially genreless. It doesn't do one thing exceptionally better than the rest. I was jumping around from jazz, soundtracks, classic rock, shoegaze, hip-hop, R&B, and it just gives you a nice clean sound that's natural enough for it to be accurate and pleasing in that way, and it's bassy enough to be engaging and fun. The vocals, while again sometimes I find myself wanting a little more, don't come across as shouty or harsh at all. They're actually really soft in their presentation, so it just makes this set feel really non-offensive and really safe for just about anyone to get behind. And if you're looking for that crazy seal, if you're playing instruments or if you're traveling and you need total isolation, this is just going to be good. And at $350, again, I just think it's a competitive set that punches way above how much it's priced. This set gets 2 thumbs up for me for sure, and it, as well as plenty of other personal audio products, are available at our store, bloomaudio.com. If you have any questions about Orchestra 2, or if you just want to say what's up to us in live chat, you can do so on our website, or you can email us at hello@bloomaudio.com. We pride ourselves on getting the live chats immediately. Also, hop in our comment section. Let us know if you've heard Orchestra 2 at CanJam, if you're thinking about picking it up. If you have any questions, I'll be down there trying to answer as much as I can. I hope everybody had a lovely Thanksgiving with their friends and family and is enjoying a nice holiday weekend. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We have a podcast that comes out every Wednesday, and we have video reviews like this that come out every Friday, and that is not going to slow down during this busy holiday season. Peace, noobs.